WashingTECH.
Hey everybody, I'm Joe Miller. Here's what's going on in the world of tech law and policy this week. References to Hitler, Pepe the Frog, Tucker Carlson talking about the Great Replacement, immigration theory. Looks like songs that contain them are totally fine for Spotify, which the Anti Defamation League finds a new report has verified at least 40 bands and musicians with hateful lyrics and imagery on their album covers. Also, it's super easy to get verified on Spotify, even though the company claims to have a handle on this stuff. The Washington Post has the full report. The Washington Post's Technology 202 newsletter reports that Donald Trump appears to be showing increased support for QAnon, the conspiracy theory movement that accuses high-profile Democrats of running some kind of pedophilia ring in which they drink the blood of children. The Post notes this conspiracy theory has moved from the fringes to the mainstream political discourse and underscores the inefficacy of social media platforms to catch subtle references to disinformation campaigns. At an Ohio rally on Saturday, Trump took the stage to music that sounded a lot like music associated with QAnon, which many see as a wink and a nod to QAnon supporters. Trump has subtly endorsed QAnon on social media, but took a more explicit approach on his own social media platform, Truth Social, by including an image of himself wearing a QAnon lapel pin. Another movement that appears to be becoming more mainstream is the so-called Incel or involuntary celibate movement. It's growing online according to a report from the Center for Countering Digital Hate, which also names Google, YouTube, and Cloudflare for facilitating the channel, which has 2.6 million monthly site visits and over 1 million posts. Lots of conversations going on there about mass murder and sexually assaulting pre-pubescent girls. And the Washington Post also reports that a cop was convicted in Indiana for texting with what he thought was a 14-year-old girl and attempting to meet her at an Olive Garden for sex there. Turns out it wasn't a 14-year-old at all. It was one of a growing number of vigilantes who bait guys like this and then record themselves shaming them, sharing it on the internet. According to the Post, the police had been reluctant to work with these citizen vigilantes to bring alleged pedophiles to trial. But the police are showing increased interest in working with these groups, according to the Post. Consulting firm Business for Social Responsibility published a report demonstrating how Facebook suppressed posts made by Palestinians during last year's war between Israel and Hamas. It did so by unfairly removing posts in Arabic at a disproportionate rate, posts that had no apparent connection to Hamas at all compared to those made in Hebrew. The state of Florida wants the Supreme Court to decide whether states can pass laws that prevent social media companies from blocking or limiting certain types of speech, such as some of the speech I just mentioned, hate speech, disinformation, things like that. Florida's petition comes on the heels of the Fifth Circuit upholding a similar law in Texas last week. Florida wants to ban companies from doing this. We published a report in late 2020 on the pattern of conservatives throughout history seeking to ban liberal speech, starting almost as soon as European immigrants landed in the New World and wanted to control Native Americans, not to mention slaves. America's entire history is one of suppressing the voices of people of color, not the other way around. Meanwhile, Microsoft has decided it won't flag disinformation, and TikTok apparently enforces its content moderation policies more leniently in favor of users with millions of followers. In a 56-40 vote with 10 Republicans on board, the Senate has for the first time confirmed a woman, immigrant, and person of color to lead the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. Previously, Arati Prabhakar led the National Institute of Standards and Technology and the Defense Advanced Security Projects Agency. Dr. Alondra Nelson, a prominent scholar who appeared on this podcast back on episode 70, had been performing the duties of OSTP director role since previous director Eric Lander stepped down in February amid accusations that he mistreated subordinates. Dr. Nelson will continue in her role as Deputy Assistant to the President and Deputy Director for Science and Technology. To go deeper, you can find links to all these stories, plus additional ones in the show notes. Stay safe, stay informed, have a great week. Ciao.
Are you worried about your kids' safety on the internet? We are here to help. WashingTECH's 5-step checklist will take you through the process of protecting your kids, and will give you tips on how to set up the best parental controls for your children on their devices. You want what's best for your children. They deserve to be safe online. Our step-by-step guide will help you make sure they are. Download WashingTECH's online safety checklist today to protect your kids online. Find it at protectyourkids.online. That's protectyourkids.online.
WashingTECH.